Welcome to Dark Leaves Whisper, where stories are not just told, but remembered in the dark. Step quietly into the shadows of ancient trees, where the leaves don't just move with the wind, they whisper stories that were never meant to be forgotten. If you enjoy supernatural encounters, unexplained events, and stories from between worlds, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. It helps this channel grow and reach more people who still listen to the whispers. And don't forget to comment where you're listening from. Now, listen carefully, because once the story begins, it doesn't always end where you expect. We only had about a week left in Thailand when things started feeling slightly off. Not in a scary way at first, just small things that didn't really make sense when you noticed them closely. And honestly, if I didn't think back on it later, I probably would have ignored all of it. It actually took us a long time just to get that trip approved. Work was busy, schedules weren't lining up, and every time we talked about going somewhere, it was always the same thing. Maybe next month. We'll see. Too busy right now. It dragged on for weeks. At one point, we almost just dropped the idea completely. But then we finally said, screw it. If we keep waiting for the perfect time, we're never going anywhere. So we booked everything. And when we finally left, it honestly felt like we earned it. Thailand hit exactly how you'd want it to. Warm air, busy streets, constant movement. We went from Bangkok down to Pattaya and just lived day by day. Beaches, street food, night markets, nightlife. No real plan, no pressure. Just waking up and seeing what the day turned into. And for most of the trip, it really did feel like one of those movie vacations. By the time we were in Pattaya, we were already near the end of the trip. Maybe a week left before flying back. That's when things started shifting. But only slightly. Not suddenly, just slower moments, longer pauses, things you don't notice until you look back on them. One night we were walking through a crowded street market near the nightlife strip. Neon lights everywhere, music from bars spilling into the street, people moving in every direction. We weren't looking for anything, just walking. That's when we stopped at a small souvenir stall. The woman there was friendly, a bit too attentive, not pushy, not aggressive, just focused, especially on my girl. She barely looked at me at first. It was all directed toward her. Comments about how certain items would suit her, how specific things would look perfect on her. It didn't feel wrong in the moment, just slightly unusual, in a way you can't explain properly. She kept circling back to one item, a small handmade charm. Nothing special visually, but she kept returning to it like it was the only thing worth showing. Not selling it hard, just guiding the conversation back to it every time it drifted away, like she already knew the outcome. And once we said we'd take it, her energy shifted slightly. Not excitement, more like confirmation, like something had reached its expected result. We walked away thinking nothing of it, just another souvenir from Pattaya, something to remember the trip. But that quiet feeling stayed. Not fear, just something slightly misaligned. Like everything was normal, but one detail didn't fully connect. After that night, small things started stacking. We'd wake up at random times without reason. Sometimes at the same time. Sometimes one of us would already be awake, without knowing why. No one said anything at first, but we both noticed it. Then one morning, we decided to get rid of the souvenir, just to clear that feeling. But when we went looking for it, it was gone. We checked everything. Bags, room, trash, nothing. That same night, it shifted. We woke up again at the same time. No alarms, no noise, just awake. And this time, neither of us moved, because we were both listening. Something was moving in the room. Not fast, not loud, just slow enough that it felt real, circling the bed. Then it stopped, right at the foot of the bed. And we saw it. A woman standing there. Not appearing, not entering, just already there. And she wasn't looking at us. She was looking at where the souvenir used to be, like she was checking something that should still be there. We didn't sleep after that. We left Pattaya the next morning and changed our flights immediately. But even after we got home, it didn't fully feel like it ended. Sometimes things still felt slightly off. Small moments. Nothing clear enough to prove, just enough to notice. We never figured out what that souvenir actually was, but when I think back to that stall in Pattaya, it doesn't feel like we just bought something random. It feels like we were already part of something we didn't understand yet. I still don't know if the officer I met that night was real, or something that only appears when it wants to. Japan is one of the safest countries in the world, so what happened to me wasn't about the country being dangerous. It was just me being in the wrong place at the wrong moment. This happened when I was traveling alone in Japan. Late night, missed train, quiet streets. I was just walking back to my hotel, nothing unusual, until I realized I wasn't alone. Someone had been following me for a while. At first, I ignored it. Then it became obvious. Every turn I made, they were still there, closer. I turned into a narrow side street. No people, no cars, just dim lights and silence. That's when I stopped hearing footsteps behind me. And then I heard movement again, but this time in front of me. A man stepped out from the shadows ahead, blocking the path. He didn't say anything at first, just stared. Then he started walking toward me, slow, confident, like he knew I couldn't go anywhere. I tried to step back, but the alley was too narrow. He got closer, too close, grabbed my arm, hard. I realized right then he wasn't just trying to scare me. He was trying to force me somewhere I didn't want to go, as well as forcing himself onto me. He had something sharp against my waist, while another groping me. I felt disgusted, and that's when everything stopped. A voice came from behind him, calm, controlled, almost too calm. "Hello, I police. You lost?" The man turns slightly, clicks his tongue, slightly annoyed, like he didn't expect anyone else to be there. I looked past him, and there he was, a police officer, standing at the edge of the alley, uniform, still, watching. "This way, I help you. You not stay here. This place, dangerous." The man hesitated, just for a second, and that was enough. When I looked back at the officer again, he felt closer than before, even though he hadn't moved. The grip loosened. The man stepped back, then turned and walked away into the dark like he suddenly lost interest. I didn't wait. I ran. I made it back to a main street eventually. Lights, people, normal life again. The next day, I tried to report what happened. There was no record of any officer assigned to that area. Nothing matched. No name, no report. But I still remember the moment he spoke. Not because of what he said, but because of how fast everything changed after he showed up. Maybe it was just bad luck, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and my mind filling in gaps when I was scared. But sometimes I wonder if it was something else, too. Maybe it wasn't just luck that I got out of that situation. Maybe it was also good fortune. Like something stepped in at the exact moment it needed to. Something watching out in its own way. A guardian angel. Or something close enough to feel like one. And I still don't know what he was. Only that sometimes, when things go wrong at night, something shows up before you even have time to understand why. Thank you for listening. And remember, if you enjoyed this story, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. And don't forget to comment where you're listening from. It really helps this channel grow and reach more people who still listen to these whispers. And please, come back next time, because there are still many stories waiting, and I would really like to tell them to you.